Matthew Wells, the MMA Junkie here with Donn Davis, PFL co-founder, chairman. How are you feeling heading into the third event of the 2022 season?
Feeling great. 5 champions fighting on the card. What could be better, right? Friday night fight night on ESPN2, ESPN Plus. Last fight of the regular season, first half. So to me, what could be better?
Absolutely. We have Kayla Harrison back. I know that she was a big focus for the PFL coming into the season, making sure you guys re-signed her along with the ESPN deal. Was there a third goal in mind coming into the 2022 season?
Well, look, we had a lot of goals, but we wanted to have the best distribution in the world. We wanted to have equal distribution in UFC, and we did that with ESPN, but we also did it with 32 media agreements covering 160 countries. You know, we have the number 1, number 2, or number 3 TV company in 160 countries. Big deal, because we want our fighters to be everywhere, to be on the top stage. And we also wanted to have our roster have 30% ranked in the top 25 of the world. That's the same percentage of UFC. Now, our brand might not be respected like that, but we wanted real fight fans to say, if I tune in Friday nights on ESPN, I'm watching fighters that are as good as if I tune in Saturday night on a non-pay-per-view card as UFC. And that's what we've done this year. So you're not watching undercard fights if you turn in PFL. You're watching serious ranked fighters week in, week out. And we accomplished that.
Absolutely. Now, talk to me a little bit about the Challenger Series, because that was a new addition coming into this year. What went into the decision to start it now? What was the decision to say, hey, let's do this in 2022? Why right now for that?
Yeah, look, it's a great question. We've had this core league, which is called our signature product, the PFL League. And this year we started this entry-level product, call it the emerging pro fighters. And next year we're starting the pay-per-view division, call it the top of the pyramid, where if you are a top 5 fighter in the world, and you're almost bigger than the league, right? You need the economics of pay-per-view. Those are really the 3 parts of the pyramid. And whether they're a TV pyramid or whether they're a fighter talent pyramid, it was just the right time. We had the expertise, the brand, the global infrastructure to be able to start to add to our core league product. And it made the most sense to start with that challenger product because we had over 800 fighters around the world apply to be on the PFL Challenger, which took 60. 800! It was incredible. And now in 2023, we'll start with, call it just 2 pay-per-view fights. So perfect complement, to kind of have an entry level and a top level supplementing the league.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the pay-per-view in a second. But with the Challenger Series, what was like the feedback that you guys got from that? Because I saw a lot of the pushback online was, kind of a pain point of having to sign up for a new service. There was interest there. Obviously, people wanted to see this because you're bringing fighters into the season. We have one fighting Ray Cooper tomorrow night. So what was kind of the feedback that you guys saw on your end from this introduction to the Challenger Series?
Yeah, as you know, all of our fights are essentially on free TV. We don't do any pay-per-view with our core product, but we wanted to bring new distribution partners, into the fold. And so that's why we brought in the Fubo partnership, this year into the fold. Are we going to increasingly have more highlight packages? We are. Are we going to increasingly do more, call it post on YouTube and other channels? We are. But I think we pride ourselves as having the most free product for premium product out there. But just some of our distribution partners do have paywalls. That's just how it is around the world. But about 75% of our either international distribution is not behind the paywall. About 25% is. We do it every time we can.
Very cool. Now, Carlos Leal came off the series. He's pretty much getting thrown into the deep end. So that's
very deep.
Very deep, right? So that's
like not even a pool.
Exactly.
Not even a pool, the ocean.
Exactly. Deep into the Pacific Ocean, you're throwing it. It's kind of wild to think of because you have to kind of prove yourself to get there, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, you're here, you're going straight to the wolves. Like no preparation. Was that always the intention, or did it just happen to work out that way this time in this particular fight?
Well, look, there were 3 contracts awarded that were league contracts. So you could get a developmental contract if you win a Challenger Series week, but then you're not in the league. You're not ready. But what was great about the Challenger, and very different from Dana White's Contender Series, is you can actually go somewhere. You're in the league. You don't go to the end of the line, you go to the beginning of the line. What could be better? So there are 3 fighters in the league this year If they win 4 times, they're champ, and they win $1 million. And they just came off the street, right? Now, they're pro fighters. Most of them have 5 to 7 years experience. So off the streets at a pretty high level. But that's what's fantastic about it. That's what makes dreams. That's what makes opportunities, whether it's in fighting or any part of life. So to me, we only selected the 3 that we thought had a real bona fide shot. But you got to beat the best to have that really happen. Rocky didn't get to just walk in and fight against a tomato can, or else it's not Rocky. So yeah, you're not going to become the champion of the PFL and win $1 million unless you go through the league. That's called a developmental contract, and then it'll take a couple years. So to me, I love it. But we're very curated, and we try to give only the people a shot who are maybe ready for a shot, and everybody else will take 2 or 3 years until we give them that shot.
Okay, very cool. Now, talking about the pay-per-view side of things, right? Kayla Harrison obviously is like the biggest star right in PFL, right?
Yep.
She's headlining this event. Will she be a part of the seasons in the future, or is the plan to keep her just for a pay-per-view attraction in the future, especially as you add more events in 2023?
Yeah, Kayla's going to move to pay-per-view in 2023. She's going to be our first pay-per-view star. We've already signed her to be the first fighter in the PFL pay-per-view super fight division, and we're going to actively make fights for her starting in 2023.
So is that going to be a thing where, hey, you get a nice chunk of change as well from the pay-per-views, but is there something more besides that? Because she gets to call herself a champion at the end of these tournaments every year. So will there be something like that as well?
Stay tuned.
I like it. Now, keeping with Kayla, opponents for her in the future. Obviously, we have Cris Cyborg, the biggest name that everybody wants to see her against. She's a free agent. How hard are you guys going after her?
Anybody who's any good, we're going after hard. Man, woman, big, small, here, there, up, down. We want to be a co-leader in MMA. So we will create a custom deal that meets any fighter's needs wherever they are. And we want to be very fighter-focused to bring in the very best of the best at any level. So we'll be aggressive, but we'll be aggressive on a very focused basis. And we'll listen to fighters. What do they care about? What do they want? What are they looking for in a deal? And we're going to say yes. That's our goal, to try to build this company. So whether it's Kayla or whether it's others that want to come over here to fight her or to make their own legacy and to make their own bank, we want to try to make that happen.
All right, I got a curveball for you a little bit. PFL season is designed around you win, you're in. You win, you go to the next stage. You win, keep winning, you're the champion, right? In MMA, though, it's not as simple as ball sports, right? You have overtime. There could be a potential draw in one of these championship fights. Has there been a discussion or a contingency plan in place? Let's say if a championship fight goes to a draw at the end. Do you just leave it vacated? Is there something like that in the works?
Now you're down your question barrel. The PFL official league rules got every contingency in, right? So what happens even in the playoffs if that happens? What happens in the championship if it happens? So, we've had one draw fight, was actually in the regular season and how those points get allocated. We haven't had one in the playoffs yet, and we haven't had one in the championship yet. Yeah, but there are rules that follow that down and what happens in terms of, awarding the winner. But draw fights are so rare. But by the way, the one draw fight we had was the most exciting fight I've seen in 3 years, so I don't think anybody would be disappointed.
Absolutely. Now, if you could name one key metric that you would like to see PFL improve on the most by the end of the season, what would it be?
Wow, great question. It's interesting because our audience per event, we're now 33% of UFC audience. Think of that, that's insane, right? Because this is only our 4th year and they're in their 30th year. And we're a third of their viewing audience per event. The brand awareness is what we have to improve on. Everybody who watches us doesn't leave. They keep watching. But if you walk in, as I always do, to my Chick-fil-A to get my iced tea or my chicken sandwich, or in my Verizon store to pick up a new iPad, not as many people have heard of the PFL as they should. And so how do we improve and enhance brand awareness is our top of mind. But the quality of the product is there. The viewing audience is growing 50% a year. The distribution is there. But the brand in our 4th year, we're still in middle school. We have work to do.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time. Thank you for answering all these
Yeah,
questions.
well, thanks for being a
Best
fan.
of
I
luck this
appreciate
season.
it.
Absolutely.